Raise your hand if you've ever had months and months to work on a project, struggled to get anything done, and then 2 days before it was due, boom, you were focused, you were productive, you had all the ideas, and you got it done. I've certainly had that experience. I'm guessing you probably have, but even if you haven't, you probably understand what it feels like to feel that fire lit underneath you when there's a problem, a tight deadline, or pressure involved in a project. And guess what? There is a reason for that. Today, we're going to talk about the surprising reason that tight deadlines help your writing. One tool I suggest all the time on this channel for getting out of writer's block is setting a tight deadline. In fact, it is one of the pillars of the creative warrior process. And it's not just a handy tool. There's actually a scientifically backed reason that tight deadlines can help you feel more productive and get more done. That reason? Stress. Now, you're probably thinking, are you seriously going to tell me that stress can help me be more creative? And yeah, I actually am. Sorry, but don't go anywhere. It's not as bad as it sounds. Stress can actually help us focus our attention and concentrate for short periods of time. Think about that situation we talked about at the beginning of the video. When a problem comes up or a deadline pops up out of nowhere, even though it was probably on your calendar and you just forgot about it. I mean, that never happens to me. You'll find yourself hyper focused and concentrated on that project. The world will fall away. You'll forget about other responsibilities and maybe even completely block out the background or the world until you get it done. For writers, that actually sounds super great and like the ideal writing situation, one we can never quite seem to achieve. But that's because stress releases adrenaline and epinephrine, which helps us narrow our focus and improves concentration. When we get stressed, adrenaline prepares our bodies to fight or run by providing our muscles with more oxygen and redirecting blood flow to the heart and lungs, making us feel more energetic. Epinephrine does similar things and stimulates the nervous system and places your vision in tunnel mode, which helps you work on challenging work in a more specific and focused way. It narrows the center of our focus on the problem at hand. Back in the day, the problem at hand might have been a predator or a dangerous situation that we needed to get out of. Today, the problem at hand might be a work deadline or a problem or a writing project. And if you want to know more about why all of this works, you can check out the Huberman Lab podcast. He talks about all the different ways that the brain works and the things you can do to help your brain focus more and concentrate. And I will put the link to that podcast in the description below if you want to check out all the really sciencey stuff behind this technique. And if you're still skeptical, there was actually a study published that had two groups, one that was given some stress stimulation, the other was not. And then they were asked to complete tasks or solve problems. And for the stress group, their focus and concentration increased manyfold, sometimes greater than doubling than the non-stress group. Even modest increases in the stress hormone greatly increased focus and concentration. But what can we do to stress ourselves out in a healthy way? Well, giving yourself a tight deadline is definitely something that you can do. If deadlines imposed by others really get your adrenaline pumping, then try imposing a deadline on yourself. But you're gonna need somebody else to help you stay accountable to that deadline because it's really easy to break promises to yourself. So tell a friend, tell a family member, and have some sort of either reward or punishment if you don't complete your project by the deadline. Another safe and healthy way to get your body into a stressed state to increase focus and concentration is cold exposure. Like taking a cold shower for 1 to 5 minutes. Cold exposure increases dopamine and epinephrine and cortisol. The shower or the bath should be cold enough to be uncomfortable, but not so cold that it's unsafe. So you don't want to be shivering or your teeth chattering the whole time you're in the shower, but you definitely want to be uncomfortable to the point where you want to get out. It's only going to induce an adrenaline rush if it's uncomfortable. So if you generally like cold showers, you might need to make it even colder, or you might need to stay in longer. If you hate cold showers, you're not gonna need as long in that shower. 1 minute might be enough to really get that adrenaline pumping. You've probably seen everybody on Instagram hopping into their cold tubs or jumping into a cold lake to get this cold exposure, and it's not just a trend. Well, it might be a trend and people might stop doing it, but it is actually really healthy and a great way to increase focus and concentration. This trend is actually really on point, and if it starts fading from your reels or your stories, it doesn't mean you should stop doing it. So after your 1 to 5 minute cold shower, dry off and head to your creative project. And the adrenaline that you have created from this shower and the increased focus and concentration can last up to an hour. You can try it with one of the writing sprints on this channel. Go take a quick cold shower, come back and press play on a writing sprint and try some focused and concentrated writing for 25 minutes. Don't forget to like this video if you found this information helpful. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to this channel. Now go fight for your creativity. Oh God, I look crazy.